patients tend to get better from multimodal treatments, right? Being in psychotherapy, addressing like the root of some of their issues, being on medication to give kind of sort of that chemical element or ketamine for that matter to have very short acting rapid response to any suicidal ideation, whereas Deep TMS works from that electromagnetic standpoint, stimulating neurons, but also has that long durability. So we're seeing that all of these different treatments that are evolving, there's a lot of misinformation out there about TMS, right? With any new technology or treatment, sort of the rumor mill spreads. And so there's a lot of different pieces of misinformation that we try to combat, not only from a buyer perspective in terms of clinicians, but from patients' perspective. So one of those is around safety, right? People often will equate this with electroconvulsive therapy, right? ECT. And when people think of ECT, which they usually call electroshock therapy, they're thinking of Jack Nicholson and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and they have a very barbaric view of this. Now, it definitely has some side effects, right? It requires anesthesia. In some cases, there is short-term memory loss, but it is definitely an effective treatment that is still done pretty consistently in hospitals and clinics throughout the country. Now, TMS is you would say, a more modern form of it. It doesn't really have that. We're not inducing a seizure, so you don't need anesthesia. It doesn't have those memory loss side effects. But because patients that haven't educated themselves on TMS equate these as both neurostimulation techniques, sometimes they can ascribe those kind of side effects and the scariness of the procedure to TMS. And I think it's important for them to know that your risk of seizure with TMS is lower than if you were taking antidepressants. We've measured over 10 years, thousands and thousands of patients, and it turns out that it's about 6 in 10,000 patients who will have a seizure from this treatment. And almost always it's due to some sort of lack of communication between the patient and doctor. So one of the important parts of the procedure is the mapping, where we're determining what's the intensity that we need to run the stimulation at for your specific brain parameters to generate that response. And it's different for everyone. And that number changes depending on certain behaviors. So for example, if you're on a new medication suddenly, or you had a rough drinking night the night before or didn't sleep, those can alter your motor threshold. So typically when there's a seizure, it's because the patient hasn't communicated that something changed in their routine that makes it so that the clinician should do a remapping and reassess the threshold. But beyond those lack of communication or misuse issues, this is as safe as it comes. And I hope that patients learn over time that.
To get a free copy of the 12-step guide that I created for you, click on the link in the description below.
Despite the unfamiliarity of using a medical device to treat depression, OCD, and other conditions, that this is an extremely safe, patient-friendly option.
And that's been our experience as well. So I'm loving TMS. Our patients are loving TMS. Team, our office staff, we do everything we can to promote TMS. We have an outpatient treatment center here at Camelback Recovery, and then we have Camelback Integrated Health and Wellness, and they're right next door to each other. And we do our best to get people that are in our outpatient program to also participate in TMS. And then we have people that are not in our outpatient treatment program that are participating in the TMS. It's getting more and more popular. We're actually buying another machine. So we're really happy with the results. And at the end of the day, the reason we're here is to help people. So we've seen TMS to be very beneficial, and I'm excited to see where it ends up going over the next 5 to 10 years.
Definitely. And there's another sort of chain of innovation going on in terms of ketamine and psilocybin. And what we've seen is that these things can go together in many ways, right? As I said before, patients tend to get better from multimodal treatments, right? Being in psychotherapy, addressing like the root of some of their issues, being on medication to give kind of sort of that chemical element or ketamine for that matter to have very short acting rapid response to any suicidal ideation, whereas Deep TMS works from that electromagnetic standpoint, stimulating neurons, but also has that long durability. So we're seeing that all of these different treatments that are evolving or have been around for a number of years are working in concert. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to the scientific community get more clear about how these different treatments interact and what's really the optimal cocktail of options for different people.
And speaking of ketamine, for example, we offer ketamine assisted therapy here at Camelback Integrated Health and Wellness. And there's a protocol where we'll do TMS, we'll go back and forth, TMS, ketamine, and we're seeing some really good results from it. So I think, to your point, using those together is a good protocol.
Absolutely. We're seeing more and more of our customers adopting both. We're seeing ketamine specific clinics coming to us saying they want to add TMS. So I think there's a recognition that there's this more integrative approach that needs to happen to treat as many patients as possible.
If you got value from this video, if you heard what you needed to hear, be sure to like it. Comment if you've got a question or you have something to say. Subscribe to the channel. Camelback Recovery provides treatment services for people struggling with mental health, mental illness, addiction, alcoholism, whatever it may be. So if you or a loved one is struggling and you need some guidance and you need some direction, reach out to us. Our contact information is down below, or you can go to our website, camelbackrecovery.com, whether it be detox, inpatient treatment, outpatient treatment, sober living, recovery coaching, sober companion services, whatever it may be. Like I said, we can either help you or make sure that you get sent in the right direction. We help people all over the country, all over the world for that matter. I'll see you on the next video.